You'd think this game is incredible and has pressure and has stakes because it's the 12-time champions, Al Ahly, the most unbeatable team in African football history, versus what many believe is the best team on the African continent, who maybe have been unlucky. Many people would think that that is where the pressure lies. But the pressure of this game goes so much deeper. Currently, Al Ahly is number 2 in their league. Currently, Al Ahly cannot play in the Egyptian Cup because they were suspended last year. Currently, Marcel Coller's only hope of redemption or a chance to keep his job comes down to this CAF Champions League. You look at Mamelodi Sundowns. Miguel Cardoso is facing a team that beat him in the final just a couple of months ago. He's coming to a team at Mamelodi Sundowns that fired a coach who was invincible for most of the season. Well, for all of the league season up until the last day. He's coming into a team that has made it clear that the Champions League is the priority. So there's immense pressure on him. And as a team, Mamelodi Sundowns is sitting down and looking at the hump that they haven't been able to jump for so many years. Semi-finals is where Mamelodi Sundowns usually gets knocked out. You look at Al Ahly, and Mamelodi Sundowns is a team that has always given them troubles. In the years that they've met, 14, well, there's been 19 games, 7 wins apiece and 5 draws. But in the back of Al Ahly's mind, this is the same Mamelodi Sundowns that could give us a 5-0, that could give us a 5-2. This is the same Mamelodi Sundowns that beat us in the African Football League last year. So already, this might be a hoodoo team. And now they're meeting at possibly the most important point in both teams' histories. Mamelodi Sundowns made a massive change last season, getting rid of Rulani, getting rid of getting rid of pretty much the structures that had made Mamelodi Sundowns what it is right now. And this is one of the big tests that they have to jump over. But it's so incredible to see how well matched and how equal these teams are. Mamelodi Sundowns, if anybody's going to beat Mamelodi Sundowns, it has to be the best team. If anybody's going to beat Al Ahly, it has to be the best team. And it just so happens that those two are clashing. Now, in the first leg, we saw a 0-0. I had said in my previews, when people had been asking me about the game and things I had said on other podcasts as well, that it was going to be a 0-0 game. It was going to be a game where Al Ahly is going to trust themselves to go into another place, defend, sit back, maybe steal a goal, but for the most part, back 5, relax, let them have the ball and try and survive. We saw it earlier versus Orlando Pirates. And Al Ahly is a team that has faced so many different threats. Your Zamaleks have come and tried from their own country. You've had Bo Esperance, you've had Bo Mamelodi Sundowns, you've had so many teams come and fight Al Ahly. And Al Ahly has always been able to stick to their guns and understand that, look, we just need one chance and one win. But the other interesting thing about this game is that in the last 5 tries, Al Ahly has not been able to beat Mamelodi Sundowns. You may argue that the 5-0s and the 5-2s have come in the group stages. But when they've played Mamelodi Sundowns in games of consequence, Sundowns has been the thorn. And it's very hard for Al Ahly to win versus Sundowns, which is something they need to do. And that makes this second leg so interesting because it begs the question from both teams. Do you stick to what you know or do you change it up for this game? When we speak of Al Ahly, what they know is waiting, is patience, is being ruthless with the 1 or 2 chances you're going to get in a game. A defender slips, you have to take it. A team gets overconfident and throws people forward, and you hit them on the counter, you have to take it. And that has been their MO. So you'd imagine that Ahly would be a little bit more comfortable and confident coming into the second leg, hoping that they can do that to a Mamelodi Sundowns team that, frankly, that has been done to them a lot. But on Sundowns' side, okay, so I know I stopped the video a lot, and a lot of you are wondering, why are you asking for money? So I wanted to show you. I asked for money because I want to do more of this. Huh? But the truth of the matter is that it took over an hour in order just to render that shot. And it takes even longer when I'm doing my normal content because, guys, here's the unsung hero of the channel. And unfortunately, Shem, wazama, but the screen is broken. I have to use a second screen and the performance is not up to it. So I'd really love to upgrade things like that. And when you look over here, this is what the setup looks like. Rehenga di patlo and rehenga di green screen, which is a reality of being a South African content creator. Also, this is what people think is my studio. It's actually my house. So if you still don't know that I'm doing all of this from my home, then I don't know. But that is essentially what I want to do. More of these cool things. But I need you guys to please help me out by donating 50 Rand or more into this account. You know, we're fighting for multi-choice. And multi-choice, but there are subscription models all over the place. And I'd love to give the biggest quality while also being able to pay my rent and do things like that. That is where your money is going. And I promise to give you only the best content that I can if you do throw something in. So I just wanted to show you guys what I want to do with your money. I want to take this South African football and fulfill my dream of taking it into the future. But thank you guys so much. Remember, this is the bank account that you deposit into. Get back into the video. What's interesting is that you see the return of Umshishi. And the return of Umshishi has sparked a conversation that had maybe gone a little bit quiet throughout the season. Now, Mamelodi Sundowns has tried to change the way that they play quite a bit. We've seen the chameleon, and I guess it was deemed to be not good enough. We've seen Coach Manqoba coming in with a heavy transition game that scored a lot of goals early for Mamelodi Sundowns. It was not seen as good enough. And now Miguel Cardoso sits with the struggle of, I've got this football that has gotten me up to this point. But you've got this star. You've got this star player that is waiting in the wings that is now ready. I was at the stadium when Umshishi was announced. But the problem with Umshishi coming in right now is that it takes away what Mamelodi Sundowns has been doing up to this point. Ribeiro, has been the star player of Mamelodi Sundowns, the number 10. He has been the guy that has taken over the reins when Umshishi was not there, and he's done so with aplomb. He's come out and he's the top goal scorer in our league. He's got incredible numbers when it comes to goals and assists. And it seems as though him, Shalulile making a return to form, Reyners, even Matthews, are a formidable front group. They're a group that at some point was scoring a lot of goals. But now when you bring Umshishi back, you sort of run the risk, if you were to integrate him immediately, you run the risk of having him step into the 10 and relegate Ribeiro to the side, and maybe we see a replay of how the chameleon ended, when the chameleon was simple to plan against. When the chameleon couldn't get over the line as much as it used to. And maybe when Umshishi comes back in, we know that Umshishi has the way to play, the knocking, the playing. But he doesn't have the output of goals that a Ribeiro gives you. And do you want to change that dynamic now in this season? Especially owing to the fact that you've played some defensive games. You've played some games where, you know, it wasn't necessarily the dazzle of Mamelodi Sundowns that was killing everybody. It was being opportunistic. And that is going to be the question that Cardoso has to answer. Now, Miguel Cardoso has shown himself to be an adaptable coach. I said previously in the season, earlier in the season, that Miguel Cardoso is one of those coaches that seems to know his team and understand his team. You see it with how he plays sales. You see it with how he deploys some of the players. You've seen it with some of the choices he's made, whether it be Mudiba or Lunga on the left-hand side, for example. Whether you double up on the right-hand side and you have Morena and Mudau, or you don't do. He's been very tactically flexible with the players that he has. So if anybody can answer this question, it would have to be Miguel Cardoso. How I expect the game to go in Egypt is that Mamelodi Sundowns is going to control that game. They're going to do what they've been doing to a lot of teams. More passes, more possession, maybe a little bit less of a threat, but more of that. The key to beating Al Ahly, in my eyes, is one of the weaknesses that has plagued Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns is not beaten because Mamelodi Sundowns is outplayed. Mamelodi Sundowns in the CAF Champions League has not lost because a team has come in and blown them away. What Mamelodi Sundowns has lost at is the ability to stay composed and stay focused. Rulani's biggest weakness when it came to the CAF Champions League was that he tended to be the guy that blinks first. So coming into this game, what Miguel Cardoso has to do is to make sure that the players stay switched on for the duration of the game and look for the one chance that they need to get. Because the longer they stay in the game, the more chances you will get where a team, let's say after the 60th minute, a team will want to attack you. Maneli Siriti, they've got something that they need to defend. They're at home. They've convinced the government to allow them to have 75,000 fans, if I'm not mistaken, at the stadium. So there comes a time where the pressure switches. And Sundowns needs to be able to hold on up to that point so that when Al Ahly becomes desperate, they can strike. And if Mamelodi Sundowns can do that, they go through to the final. The problem with Mamelodi Sundowns, for me, has to be the left-hand side and the left centre-back position. Suarez has shown that he has a mistake in him. And he's shown that if you can put pressure on him, you can get something. The question, like I said earlier, that Miguel Cardoso has to answer is who's going to play alongside him? Do you go with Mudiba so that Mudiba can invert and Mudiba can play higher up and Mudiba can mix in with Abotemba Zwane, mix in with the midfield, have an extra man when you're playing the ball, keep possession, play that game, similar to what they used to do with the Chameleon, where he'd come into a midfield that would already have an Allende there, that would have an Adams now is there, that would have a Zwane that's available, that would have a Debza, and he just overwhelm teams from central areas and leave Suarez alone at the back. Suarez, very similar to AB, who was there at Mamelodi Sundowns last year. Or do you play Lunga and go for defensive solidity, making sure that that back four, back five, covered by Mokwena, can just survive? You know, Usaila played a very important role last game out, not necessarily pushing up as much as he normally does. So do you play that game? On Al Ahly's side, with all of the pressure, you know, any other game, I would say Al Ahly is going to beat Mamelodi Sundowns and they're going to go through. But with the pressure that they are feeling, will they be a feeling in the stadium and in the team that they need to go exert themselves, put the pressure on the other team, go at the team, attack them? Will they be that impetus, knowing that this might be the only trophy that you can get? Will there be a desperation? All in all, I think we are in for an incredible game. I think it may not be beautiful in the way that us South Africans love it, but it's going to be tense. It's going to be two teams that are going to be very tactical. They're not going to want to make a mistake. They're going to be very cautious, I believe. I don't think you want to see an open game. Al Ahly does not play open games. They don't play them well. Mamelodi Sundowns, if they play too open, they might get too excited and get caught out. It's going to be a game of focus. But make no mistake, this is going to be a highly pressured game. And I think we all are going to feel it at some point. And I hope that Mamelodi Sundowns has it in the bag to go and take it. I hope that they take advantage of the fact that Ahly usually plays better when they start home and go away in the second leg, because then they score the away goal and then they relax. Now going back home is something that Mamelodi Sundowns is strong at, where if they start at home and then go away, they tend to be a lot stronger as well. Ahly, like I said, has not been able to beat Mamelodi Sundowns in the last 5 games that they've met, and they cannot afford a draw in this game. I'm hoping that Mamelodi Sundowns can steal a 1-0 here and go through to the final. But we'll see how that's going to go. I'll see you guys on the next one.